Kristi Noem is a massive issue for Donald Trump, and she has to go. I thought he was going to do it today, but here was his response when he was asked if she was gone.
Kristi Noem going to step down?
No.
I reckon it's a miss. Let's take a look. The central problem with Kristi Noem is that she is far too combative. Now, on the face of it, that is what you want in a Homeland Security Secretary, especially one appointed by the also combative Donald Trump. But there is a point where the combativeness stops actually helping and starts really hurting. Now, when Alex Pretti was shot and killed by ICE agents after a struggle, here was Noem's immediate reaction.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at this scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. When you perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
Now, there's a lot of big claims in there, delivered in a pretty black and white fashion. The exact same thing she did with Renee Good. But these claims don't correspond to what video evidence shows. Now, did Pretti go down there to try and prevent ICE doing their job? Sure. Did he have a gun? Yes. But video footage also shows him standing around the scene long before the struggle with ICE officers. Now, is that necessarily the actions of someone who wanted a mass casualty event? Look, personally, I wouldn't have carried a gun in those sort of circumstances, and I certainly wouldn't have done half the things that Pretti wanted to do down there, and he reacted poorly. But we have to understand, Pretti paid for his bad mistakes with his life. So whatever he did do, you have to ask yourself, is the punishment for what he did a death penalty? I don't see it. Now, also, having a gun at a protest does not necessarily make you a domestic terrorist. Under Minnesota law, it is completely legal to carry a gun at a protest. He should have been having his own identification, but that's basically a misdemeanor. And to be honest, it's pretty shocking to see the Republican Party figures trouncing on a basic part of the Second Amendment. Now, but can I definitively claim anything about the shooting myself? No, I wasn't there. I haven't spoken to witnesses. I haven't reviewed all the footage. I haven't seen any messages that Pretti was sending people in the lead up to his death to imply that he might have a motive in being there. Now, that's what the job of an investigation is, and that should be the response of authority figures to an incident like this. Donald Trump himself said it.
Well, you know, we're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
Simple as that. There's an investigation. We're looking into it. We're not going to preempt the investigation by making any big statements now. Now, that is monumentally different to what Noem has been doing. And this is why it's a massive issue. Because voters saw a video of a man that kind of looks like them shot in the back by US officials. Now, no matter the legality, no matter the context, no matter the political persuasion of anyone involved, for voters in a country literally founded on the idea of fighting back against government overreach, the vision of that is against everything they stand for. To then rub salt in the wound by emphatically declaring that not only were those officials right to shoot that person, but the slain citizen had it coming, it's the kind of stuff that pushes loyal voters away. It's not what they signed up for. Now, here's what former Trump advisor and White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney told this network yesterday.
The legalities are one thing. Was the officer legally justified in discharging the weapon? Maybe we'll get an investigation, I hope, and we'll know the answer to that question. But most people don't care about that. They care about what it looks like. And it's not just the optics. It's, does it look right? Does it look fair? Does it violate some common sense? And the answer is yes. It does. When a law enforcement officer in this country shoots an unarmed civilian on his knees in the back several times, people want to sort of raise their hand and say, okay, no, that's enough. We're stopping now. You had me up until that particular point, but now it's different.
Let's switch focus to Tom Homan, the border czar. Now, Donald Trump wrote on Monday on Truth Social, I'm sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Now, there's a few clues in there about how Trump is feeling. So specifically mentioning that Homeland has not been involved sends a message that this is turning over a new page. Whatever came before is past. Tom Homeland represents a new approach. And the second clue is that he will report directly to Trump. Now, as Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem should be the person that Homeland reports to on Homeland Security operation. But Trump is saying Homeland's report directly to him is freezing out Kristi Noem. He doesn't want her interfering in what's going on in Minnesota anymore. Now a bit of history. Homeland and Noem do not get on. Let me quote from a Fox News report from October last year. Long one, bear with me. A mass shakeup of US immigration and customs enforcement leadership is underway amid growing friction inside the Department of Homeland Security over deportation tactics and priorities. According to 4 senior DHS officials, on one side are border czar Tom Homeland and ICE Director Todd Lyons, who have advocated focusing on criminal aliens and those with final deportation orders. Now, on the other side are DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, Senior Advisor Corey Lewandowski, and Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, who have pushed for a broader and more aggressive approach targeting anyone in the US illegally to boost deportation numbers. 2 senior officials described the mood inside DHS as tense and combative, with some ICE leaders warning the new approach could erode public support and blur the line between ICE and Border Patrol operations. One side is certainly looking right so far. Let's move on to a New York Post article from December. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and President Trump's border czar Tom Homeland are barely on speaking terms due to a deep-seated feud between the faces of the administration's border crackdown. Kristi is doing a great job, Trump reportedly told an advisor who relayed the conversation to this outlet. Her and Tom don't get along, but they're doing great. Now, I haven't seen anything in the last month that would tell me that Tom Homeland has seen the error of his ways and that the Kristi Noem School of Immigration Enforcement is the way to go. Safe to say, it's still very frosty between them. So for Trump to so publicly side on one side of this divide reveals Trump has probably had it with Kristi Noem and is now Tom Homeland. Trump's political success has been tied to an incredible knack of knowing where the American public are on key issues. A natural populist, he is so on top of the public mood that he looks like he's leading the public conversation when he's actually following it. It's what made him president. Now, he surely knows that now that American citizens have been getting killed by ICE agents, the public mood on immigration enforcement is going to change. The American people signed up for strong borders and the deportation of violent criminals. They did not sign up for dead Americans being called domestic terrorists. Sidelighting Noem and empowering Tom is the start. Firing Noem should be the finish. Okay, that's it for me this week. Make sure you subscribe to Sky News Australia so you can stay up to date with not just my videos, but from all of the other excellent commentators we have here at Sky.